everyone! What do you see on the screen? Yeah, that's right. This is the Statue of Liberty, and today we're going to be talking about this book called The Statue of Liberty from the Step Into Reading series. The agenda for today is, as you could see, pre-reading, or also known as before reading, during reading, and post-reading, or also known as after reading. And I will be talking about how teachers can use this in their classes, but also how teachers can integrate this. So I will be doing a lot of modeling and also doing teacher and student talk. So I'll be jumping in and out. So I hope you understand and catch me while I'm doing this presentation. Also, as you can see on the screen, there's the activities for pre-reading, cover talk, fun facts, true or false, or fill in the blanks. During reading, I'll be reading the passage with you, or also the students, and discussing some during reading questions. For the post-reading, I will go through some comprehension check, and then also introduce a flipbook activity. And as everyone knows, this is a nonfiction history book, history series, and the book conveniently contains drawn pictures and also real photographs that students can look at and see. Although they have, maybe for students that haven't seen it, they could look at the process of how it started or how the sculpture began. This is for grades 2 to 3 or even younger, and in Learning Castle level, it's labeled as Junior C. So let's get started. Cover talk is something that teachers use very often. Some of the questions that we can ask is, what is this book about? What do you see in the cover? Well, we see a statue. And also, what does the title, The Statue of Liberty, tell you? It's very simple. This book reveals a lot from just the title and the cover itself. So we can ask a little more in depth and say, what do you want to learn? And students can say, oh, I want to learn about the historical background. Oh, teacher, is there really a Statue of Liberty? Is it really, really big? And you can help the students hone in and help them guide into this book by saying, yes, you can find those information while we read the book. Well, another thing that you can do with the students is to do the fun facts. You can go through the true or false. So have the students read the sentences. The statue was always blue-green in color. Has it always been blue-green? It's very interesting. In fact, it isn't, and the answer is false. It used to be copper, but as time passed, it changed its color due to the environment. The second question, the 7 spikes symbolize 7 continents and oceans. The spikes refer to the spikes of the statue, and this actually symbolizes 7 continents and oceans, so this is in fact true. The last sentence, the construction stopped midway due to the lack of money. Is this true or false? Can they really run out of money? In fact, this is true, and we will read more about it and how America overcame this problem and were able to have the Statue of the Liberty in New York. So another activity that I would like to introduce is a fill in the blanks. So with your students, read the words inside the word bank. France, goddess, iron, age, New York harbor, pure, lighthouse. And go through this one by one with your students. So let's read the first 2 sentences all together. The Statue of Liberty stands on Liberty Island in, that's right, New York Harbor. She was a gift to the United States from the people of, well, we only have one possible answer in the word bank, and that is France. And go through this one by one with your students. And then you can dive into the passage reading with your students. So for this, you can do it whichever way you want. For example, if you want to introduce the vocabulary in depth before the reading, so during the pre-reading, then you can do so. Or you can do like how I will be modeling, and just stop in the middle of the sentence of each passage and stop and ask, stop and answer as students ask, and also as you lead them to ask different questions. So let's read. A lady stands in New York Harbor. She is as tall as a skyscraper. She's called the Statue of Liberty. And the students can ask, skyscraper, what is it? Or you can initiate and say, what does skyscraper mean? And some students can say, I know the word sky, but I don't know skyscraper. And maybe some students know the answer and they can say, oh, that means tall buildings. And you can say, that's right. Look at the background in the picture. You see tall buildings. Compared to the Statue of Liberty, it's small, and we can see how big the statue is. So you can continue to read. Liberty means freedom. All over the world, people dreamed of coming to America to find freedom. People came by ship. The trip took many days. Men, women, and children were crowded together. They were tired, hungry, and scared. And you can ask, who are they? Are they Americans? We can find the clues in the book. We know that they referred to the men, women, and children that's referred prior to the sentence. We know that they came by ship. So maybe they don't necessarily live in America. So maybe they're people that want to come and live in the States. And maybe they're searching for freedom. And as you can find from page 6, people dream of coming to America to find freedom. So you can explain to students bit by bit and move from one sentence to another. Suddenly they saw the lady and people cried for joy. A Frenchman made the lady. His name was Frederick Bartholdi. He copied his mother's face for his statue. How beautiful she was. Who built the statue? Frederick Bartholdi. And you can ask the students, repeat after me. Frederick Bartholdi. He made a small statue, then a bigger one, then an even bigger one. The last statue was so big it could not fit in his workshop. Each finger was longer than a man. Each eye was as big as a child. Can you imagine? Does this make sense? So you can model and you can stand up and show them that a man, or in here the man is referred to as the adult. So the adult is usually taller. I mean, the teacher will be an adult, so you can stand up and show them that that's how big a finger is. And then you can help them look at the page. There's a child, and each eye was as big as a child. And you can compare the picture and with the picture of the eye and the picture of the child. Frederick needed lots of help. His helpers worked in a big room. And here we have a live picture, a real picture in the background. So you can say, which part of the body does this look like? I think I see something rectangular. I see some fingers. Is that the hand holding the torch? Well, that doesn't look like a torch. Well, maybe it's the left hand holding the book. And you can have them become engaged and keep them engaged, because students tend to lose interest or students get easily distracted. But these are things that will interest the students. They took the pieces outside to put them together. She was higher than all the buildings, much higher. They took the statue apart, they packed it in 214 crates, and they shipped it to New York. In America, the people were building a high pedestal for the lady to stand on. But they ran out of money. The work stopped. No one knew what to do. What do you think will happen next? And some students can say, I don't know, maybe that wasn't built. Or they can say, well, we know the statue is there, so probably it was built. But how did they do that? We'll find out in the next sentences. Joseph Pulitzer owned a newspaper. He had an idea. Joseph said, "The statue needs a home. I will print the name of everybody who gives money to help." So thousands of people sent nickels and dimes, and soon they had enough money. So now workers could finish the huge pedestal, and they set the lady on top of it. And on October 28, 1886, the people of New York had a parade to welcome her. And the president gave a speech. Frederick Bartholdi was excited, and he went up and up to the very top. He looked down. A boy was waving a white handkerchief, and that meant it was a signal. And he pulled the rope, and the flag fell. And there was the lady. Hip, hip, hooray. Cannons boomed. Boat whistles blew. People cheered. The excitement never ended. Today, more than 125 years later, the Statue of Liberty still welcomes people to America, the land of the free. And that's the end of the story. Well, now we know that it's not 125 years. It's roughly 136 years from this point. But these are things that you can point to your students. So now we can delve into the post-reading. So you can do simple comprehension checks through the Learning Castle website. So you can choose a correct picture, or you can search the meaning. What does liberty mean? Or you can, the questions also ask about some details in the passage. How did Frederick feel on October 28, 1886? And it actually says that he was excited on that day. Another thing that you can do in depth is to use the Learning Castle workbook. There's very many worksheets, different reading comprehension, listening, speaking, writing that you can do. But today I brought a reading comprehension check, and let's answer questions 3 and 4 together. So 3, what did Frederick copy for his statue? A, New York Harbor. B, French people's statue. C, his mother's face. And with your students, you can answer this together. And obviously the students will say, his mother's face. And yeah, that is correct. Number 4, what did the statue hold in its right hand? A, a torch. B, a present. Or C, a ship. And students will say, oh, A, a torch. And yes, that is correct. And you can also do story retelling. This is a part of a speaking activity. So number the pictures in order, then retell the story. Right now, I won't go through specifically, but we can also, when you're doing this with your students, you can actually read one by one. And students can ask questions about each sentence or words that they were not able to understand. But we know that, in fact, Frederick copied his mother's face for his statue. Then in America, people stopped building it because they ran out of money. And then after that, people sent money, and then so workers could finish the pedestal. And then they set the lady on top of the pedestal. And in 1886, the people of New York had a parade to welcome the statue. And then the president gave a speech. So we can number them, 1, 3, 2, 4. Also, another thing that you can do is to use a flip book. And this is to engage your learners, have them color, have them write, and have them practice just getting used to writing and also remembering what they had done. So this is an activity from Teachers Pay Teachers. You can help them cut and then read through. And this gives you an information of the height of the statue, the dedication, who did she welcome to the U.S., or the meaning of the statue, and the origin and the location. So this is just like a wrap-up and a review for the students. For you to access some of the materials, you can look at the website, Learning Castle website, and on the bottom you will see the content and the materials provided. So you can access a teacher's guide, some answers, tests, script, and the translations. So hopefully you will be able to integrate this well in your classes. Well, that's basically it for what I have today. And I hope that you would be able to integrate this well in your classes. I think the most important thing for this is to see where your students are at. See what they need, see how much they progress, see where they're at. And then you can integrate this book and see if you want to do intense vocabulary teaching beforehand, or you want to read with your students bit by bit and explain as you're going through. I hope you integrate it well in your classes, and good luck teaching. Thank you. Bye-bye.